Greetings once again from quarantine, everybody. Today, Dustin and I, on behalf of Front Stretch, are here to catch up to speed on what went down yesterday from the track Too Tough to Tame, Darlington Raceway. Before we get into the race in general, Dustin, I'm just curious as to your thoughts on the fact that NASCAR actually was able to pull this off, it seemed like, with no glitches or no real hiccups at all. I was actually pretty surprised that it went as smoothly as it did.
Yeah, I am too. For the safety of the sport, for the future of the sport, NASCAR had to come back sooner rather than later from a financial standpoint. So I think they were put in a box, but it looked like, obviously we weren't at the track, but it looked like they did a pretty good job from all the health screenings, everything that was set up there. So 2 thumbs up for NASCAR. And, if this keeps going like this for a while anyway, it's only going to get better, I would think, unless someone gets sick, obviously.
No, I agree. And you can check out what I wrote for Fire on Fridays on Front Stretch, and a lot of our other staff members have written some op-ed pieces on whether or not they think it's the right decision to go back or whether it's a little bit of a risky maneuver. Whatever you think about it, they are racing and they will be racing again on Wednesday, and we'll get to that in a minute. But first, let's talk about Sunday for a little bit. Kevin Harvick gets the win, led the most laps, had one of the most, if not the dominant car on Sunday. And a big milestone for him. He gets to win number 50 in his Cup Series career. That's a pretty interesting and frankly a rare accomplishment nowadays in NASCAR. And he passes his friend and team owner Tony Stewart, who had 49, to do so. What did you think of Harvick's performance?
Yeah, he led 159 of the final 200 laps. He didn't lead at all in the first stage, but once that second stage came around, Ford car was definitely the one to beat. We were talking before this, and he's bringing back the same car Wednesday. So
not changing a thing.
No, that's worrisome for the competition. But yeah, I mean, Harvick's been good to start off the year. Only driver with 5 top 10s, leads the points by 28 over Alex Bowman. So not surprised. It's one of Harvick's better tracks.
This race also is just like very weird. So you had Jimmy, who was going to win the stage, opening things up, and then he crashes on the backstretch, coming to win the stage. Then you had his Hendrick Motorsports teammate, William Byron, slam the wall while he was running inside the top 5. You had Matt Kenseth making his return, got a top 10 finish like it was nothing, just another day's work. Ryan Newman comes back. Although he wound up being the final caution, he was inside the top 15 for most of the day. John Hunter Nemechek and Tyler Reddick scored top 10 finishes. John Hunter with, I believe you would know this, the first top 10 for front row not on a super speedway in, 2-3 years, something like that. It was a crazy race.
Yeah, there were storylines galore. No stoppage storylines going into this race and following this race. You hit on a lot of them there. Matt Kenseth coming back, getting a top 10. That was kind of surprising, never being in this package. You hit on both Jimmy Johnson and William Byron. Alex Bowman, Hendrick Motorsports is back. Chevrolet's back. You had Kenseth and Kurt Busch for Ganassi in the top 10. The rookies stood out. Hunter Nemechek, like you said. That was that's front row's first top 10 on an intermediate track ever. So it just shows, seemingly John Hunter's probably the best driver ever to be in one of their cars.
Yeah.
And if you look at it, he's got top 25s in all 5 races this year. So he's definitely standing out. And then Tyler Reddick came from the back twice to get a 7th place finish. So he's proven also that RCR might not always just be the drivers or the equipment at RCR. It could be the drivers too.
Yeah, I think John Hunter and Reddick are both exposing a little bit of the demons that have plagued front row and RCR in recent years for sure. And just to tie up that topic, I love watching Reddick drive. Kyle Larson, before he had his incident, which now he's obviously on the road to possibly coming back in NASCAR, he was kind of the guy that everybody loved to watch because he was ripping the top. He was just send it every corner, brush the wall, keep going. I think Tyler Reddick is now becoming that guy in the Cup Series, along with Kyle Busch, who drives at 110% every single lap. You know that they're going to hit the wall, but you know that if they start in the back or have to go to the back, they're going to come back up towards the front. And the fact that Kyle Busch does that in a Joe Gibbs car, that's one thing. But the fact that Tyler Reddick has done it already this season a couple times in an RCR car, I think that speaks volumes. And then on John Hunter, I think he's kind of exposing the past front row motorsports drivers, whether that's a talent disparity or maybe the equipment has just gotten better. John Hunter is showing off right now, and that's been really good for him. I want to close asking you, Dustin. We're 2 people that obviously our life is in this sport and we follow it a lot. And yesterday, although we weren't there, it was something that I have never really seen before. I mean, I've seen test sessions with nobody in the stands and a couple cars on track with blank paint schemes and nothing really on it. But to see Kevin Harvick climb out in victory lane, nobody around him, no confetti, no Busch beer spraying around, wearing a mask, it was just a sight to behold. What stood out to you the most yesterday among all of the things that you saw?
Oh man, everything you just said. I guess post race with Harvick and Victor Lane, the photo. I mean, there's a few of them floating around,
Yeah.
but of him with the mask on, with the trophy, or standing up on the car, with nobody around him. That's something we're not accustomed to. We're accustomed in NASCAR racing in general for the celebration post race after a triumph. So I think that's going to be a lasting image, not just in NASCAR, but in sports history.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd agree with that. And there was some snafu with Fox showing a specific camera angle of the spotters, and were they social distancing? Were they not? I'm sure by the time that you guys are watching this, we will know, because Door Bumper Clear will clear up that narrative for us. But Hannah Newhouse, who was on site for MRN Radio, actually tweeted out a video showing that they were specifically standing 6 to 8 feet apart. So good on the spotters for that. And Fox Sports may have just had a bad camera angle. Who knows? Before we leave you today, all you guys watching, you see how bad my beard looks? You see how ugly my hair is right now? Dustin, he doesn't have as much hair as me, but he's covering it up with his Syracuse hat. If you want to trim up this beard, maybe give yourself a fade, or head down to the nether regions, go to manscaped.com, okay? Use the code FRONTSTRETCH, and you will get 20% off your order and free shipping. Dustin, they are a new sponsor of the Front Stretch podcast. You have worked your butt off along with Mike Neff and everybody over at that podcast to get this sponsor on board. Please tell us a little bit more about Manscaped.
Yeah, so like you said, definitely use the code FRONTSTRETCH, get 20% off and free shipping. They sent me a package of a fan package, I guess you could call it, in the mail last week. Great product, definitely works. So yeah, like you said, if you have a little hair that you need to rearrange or shave off anywhere on your body, use Manscaped.
Literally anywhere on your body. Give us a side profile, Dustin. I saw your beard. It was very finely trimmed. Let's see it. Ooh, yeah.
I think this side's better.
Both are pretty good. Mine's very scraggly, but I mean, I'm trimming it, but it's still
it's tough. I always mess up underneath.
Yeah, I got a lot of work to do. But I've always said the first 3 things I'm doing after quarantine ends is I'm going to get my hair cut, I'm hugging a stranger, and then I'm hugging my barber with consent, with the hug, of course. But that's what I'm going to do. So, all right, Dustin, hopefully we'll be back on Wednesday to talk about another good race. I think, considering the circumstances, Sunday could not have gone much better. And I think that's a really welcome sign, not only for NASCAR, but for the sports world in general. So we'll talk to you guys on Wednesday. Before Wednesday, get your orders in on Manscaped. Use the code FRONTSTRETCH for 20% off and free shipping. Until then, your Front Stretch duo. Catch you on the flip side.